When you're forming your group, you want to build relationships. Now, it doesn't really matter about the makeup of the group in terms of men or women or age, although you could have someone who was a certain age, so like young people who'd want to be together. The key is, how do you build relationships? Because discipleship is done in relationship. Jesus called the 12 to be with him. Later he was going to send them forth, but between the with him and the sending them forth is 3 years of 24/7 time. He spent a lot of time with them. He built relationships with them. And sometimes he had to say very hard things to you. How long am I going to stay with you? Oh, you have little faith. And those kinds of things. But because he had a relationship, he could say that. And you need to build that relationship personally with individuals, help them build relationships between themselves, with prayer requests, with concerns, with helping one another. When somebody in the group has a need, that everybody pitches in, or some people pitch in and say, how can we help that? When they're dealing with a certain problem, praying with them and then finding out what the answer to prayer is. But it's very important that your group builds relationship, but not an exclusive relationship. These are open groups, and we're always trying to bring our friends and neighbors and relatives into these groups. So you're continually building this relationship process because you care. You're always checking on them. Every time someone misses, you need to talk to them. Find out where they are. Maybe they're really hitting a rough spot in life. Maybe they're just becoming apathetic, and you need to help them, again, talk about what it means to be a disciple. Maybe they're facing sin in their life and they're ashamed to come, and they need to deal with that sin. But it's important that we make those relationships, and if you're a group leader, that's your responsibility, that at least every week you're making contact with those people who are no longer being engaged, or if you see a relationship problem between people, that you're trying to help them straighten that out. Because all of this is done in relationships. Now, around the world, most societies are relationship societies. They look at things as a community. In the United States and in Western countries, we're very individualized. And so we're very separated, and we don't necessarily think about everybody else. We're thinking about ourselves, and well, that's his responsibility. And so we have to work a little harder, because we're not just normally in relationship and thinking we have to get some agreement on anything that we're going to do together. But Jesus was in that kind of relationship with them. He expects that kind of relationship for us, that we help one another so much that people really do want to respond. Now, in this relationship, you're going to be able to take them through a discipleship process. And we've talked about 4 different stages. The share stage is when you're sharing the gospel with someone, or secondly, someone who's become a Christian, but they're still such an infant that they are not really growing at all. That's called the share stage. You're sharing truth with them. And at that stage, you're wanting to move them to the next stage, which is the connect stage. So you want to connect them into the group. You're building this relationship, because that's where we grow, and particularly this small group, because this small group is the place that really takes care of them and helps them grow. Now, the connect level person is very happy to be in the group. He might say, oh, it's wonderful to have all these friends, and I enjoy this. They're still thinking about themselves in this connect group. What you're trying to move them is more to a ministry, and so you begin to move them into ministry where they're caring for other people. And the key significant thing here is they're thinking about other people. They've quit focusing just on themselves and what they get out of it, even if they do ministry. They're thinking about the other-centered persons. How do I help that person? What can I do in this situation? And then to move from that, as they grow, to when they want to help somebody else to be a ministry person, when they're helping other people to connect. And so they're really in the disciple stage. They're making disciples. Now, orality is the very best way in these groups to find out where people are, because you're not doing all the talking. and you're listening to them, and you can tell by what they say where they are in the process and what you need to do. So relationships are the key, and then connecting in those relationships to help them move to the next stage in discipleship. God bless you as you lead your group.